Hiya, I'm Scarlet Bun, lead of Team Nova. We make this game. But that's only a demo, an engine demo. That begs the question, where is the full game? Well, that's a question we've been asked for a very long time, and I'm hoping to answer today. To answer that question with the greatest clarity, we have to go back, all the way back, to the beginning. Okay, maybe not that far back, about here. As an aside, I'll be talking about Adventure Forward at length with brief mentions of its creator, so if that makes you uncomfortable, we recommend skipping to this timestamp. Also, for those of you who don't care about the history of the game and just want an update, skip to this timestamp here. With that out of the way, let's talk about the original concept behind what is now known as Stars Align, Adventure Forward 2.5 Elemental Disaster. Okay, for the uninitiated, that probably sounded about as sane as Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. I get it, but let me break it down for you. Adventure Forward was a game series inspired by 3D Mario, created all the way back in 2014 by Explode One. We're not gonna get too deep into it, but this guy, not a good person. He made the sequel to the original game in 2017 with a couple failed third installations for the series before being outed as a, well, I just have to assume you've been on Roblox long enough now. Thankfully, he's been banished off Roblox and all social media since then. Let's go back to 2018 for a moment though, just before all that went down. A young speedrunner and developer, going by the name of Sir Rovers, aka Arian, had managed to get onto the dev team for Adventure Forward 3. Well, the second try at it anyways. During his time on the game, Arian also started a side project, fan DLC for Adventure Forward 2, which Explode was aware of, giving feedback on, and even considered canon to the universe. The DLC's plot revolved around 4 elemental points: Vaporia, Floridine, Inferna, and Gravolum. Pokemon-ass names, I know. And if you don't know what a point is, I am envious of you. But it's basically the person that you talk to and interact with when going to a given world. They kind of own the world? It's hard to explain, and it doesn't really matter at the moment. But now we have all the pieces for the name: Adventure Forward, 2.5 as its DLC, and then Elemental Disaster. Sometime into the development of Elemental Disaster, Explode One got exposed for his disgusting behavior and was kicked off the internet. It took longer than it should have, but point being though, Arian kept working on the project despite everything. I don't know his exact intentions, nor does it need to be brought up. He was 14, and it's not the point of this video. February 3rd, 2019. Arian releases the first world for Elemental Disasters, Tock Gardens. I'm not sure how long they'd been working on the project, but at this point his friends had helped with development as well. Most importantly for this video, Skylar Nyler, or just Sky. They had all worked together to put out a functional demo with 4 stars to collect, 16 red coins, and a somewhat working main collectible. You also got to meet the point of the world, Aramist, but this time, instead of either just a completely deserted environment or random points that didn't serve much of purpose, she had these little helpers, the Timelings. Get used to all these characters because you're going to be seeing them a lot. 3 weeks after release, Elemental Disasters was cancelled for numerous reasons. And at the time, that was seemingly it for any official or semi-official Adventure Forward entry. Maybe that's all that was needed. And finally, people would be able to say goodbye to Adventure Forward. May 25th, 2020, Arian had taken a roughly year-long break before coming back to become the figurehead for what remained of the Adventure Forward community. And just 2 days later, he kicked Elemental Disasters back into development, with many of the same people that had helped him before. And guess what we saw roughly a month later? The first images of an entirely overhauled and revitalized Tock Gardens, stating the decision was made to better match the team's current skill. Surely that won't become a trend. Anyways, August 6, 2020, Arian makes a post asking the community their opinion on something that would be very important in the long run. Is Elemental Disaster canon to the universe of Adventure Forward? Evidently and overwhelmingly, the community agreed that it should be. Arian now had the full weight of the 2 previous games on his shoulders to uphold, and what was meant to be a simple DLC with a few worlds turned into something much, much more. 1 month after the vote was held, Arian decided it was time to rebrand under a new name, and soon after, for the first time since the standalone release of Tock Gardens, the community was going to get their hands on something playable. So, I'm sorry in advance for the crazy tonal shift, but in January of 2020, I lost my father. At the time, I was working on a reimagining of the first Adventure Forward, AF1HD, helping out a friend. I never really cared about the series in the first place. I played it here and there, but it never super impressed me. A few days before my dad passed though, I composed a piece that I was insanely proud of and still consider one of my best works. I really wanted to show it to him, but I wasn't sure what the right time was. Unfortunately, there never was time. That, paired with the fact that his last gift to me was a Nintendo Switch with a copy of Breath of the Wild, given to me months before my birthday, not knowing how long he had. Well, let's just say this intro hit me like a fucking truck with my name written on the side of it. Besides that though, this demo was the single best thing I had played on Roblox in my 10 years on the platform. And I imagine for the people that grew up with the series, they felt much the same. It really was just that old Tock Gardens demo, but so much better. Aramis was here with a brand new design, and the timelings are also here. Most of the Star Paths remained relatively similar in theme too. There was even a new prologue, boss fight, and moveset. It felt like a real game, and that's because now it was planned to be just that, promising 7.5 worlds, each with its own point and NPCs, multiple boss fights, something around 60 stars in total, and a hub world that updated as you played the game. It sounded amazing. The dream was amazing. And to me in particular, I found a real interest in that they were working on their own AF1HD. Blinded by my feelings for the demo and a need to prove myself by finishing the last project my dad ever knew I worked on, I reached out the next day to Arian to see if I could compose for AF1HD, and to my surprise, he said yes. This video is about Stars Align though, so I'll be skipping over the history there, but the Cliff Notes version is AF1HD gets cancelled for about the 100th time, and I hopped over to Crown of Shadows development. It was a bit more complicated than that, but it's really not important. In March of 2021, the demo finally closed, with our intention being to work on Crown of Shadows until it was in a complete state. Slated for March of the next year, the plan was basically to finish a world every single month. Holy hell, that's not basic at all. And As you can imagine, if that all happened according to plan, I wouldn't be making this video. During this time though, we announced our sixth and final point that would appear in the main cast, Goliath. Let that sink in. A little less than 1 year from development restarting, our final cast had been revealed and set in stone. Aramis, Nucleon, Octovius, Kydra, Corvus, and Goliath would be in the final game. And I can say, as someone on the team at the time, even just during this short year, the story changed, and it kept changing. A lot. So much so that in September of the same year, Arian even explained that he would be introducing his own canon to Adventure Forward, revising the old game's plotlines to better fit his version of the story. He planned to release AF1 HD at some point and launched a revised version of AF2, Adventure Forward 2 Repainted, just a few days later to fit these changes. Repainted is also likely what inspired a switch to a world-by-world release format for Crown of Shadows, wanted by the community as well. And about a week after this change, Arian announced Adventure Forward 3 Crown of Shadows would be released on December 20th with the promise of everything that came with the last demo, a hub, and World 2, boasting that half of the game's worlds are nearly done, and most importantly, it would stay open forever. Yeah, so that didn't happen. After our entire Twitter was nuked by someone pretending to be Explode 1, Arian was able to find an agreement with them pretty swiftly, but it also caused us to rethink a lot of what we were doing, including if we should even use this IP at all, for the pain it's caused everyone, even ourselves. I won't get too deep into detail, but many people on this project had or have deep trauma regarding Explode 1 and the Adventure Forward series, and for some of them, Crown of Shadows was their way of coping. So, after some deliberation, we decided it was time to stop perpetuating a legacy that had hurt so many people, and move on to Stars Align. Daybreak. Yeah, don't worry about the Daybreak part, that came and went in about a span of 4 months. Anyways, we finally had our own IP. We could do anything we wanted. Anything. That also included all of these guys, their worlds, and anybody else that we wanted to keep. So let me just put this into perspective real quick. We went from hoping for a December release in September to, in October, having to redo most of our major plot points for the entire game. Not great. We probably should put something out quickly so our fanbase doesn't lose the only reason most of them were following us in the first place. October 20th. Only a week after rebranding internally, we put out a debut trailer for the game, letting the public know the name Stars Align for the first time. The trailer included Mira Mira, the previous main villain, fighting what seemed to be the new protagonist, Prophet Angel, which, I don't know, I think that's just what happens when you hit insert blocky rig in studio. But sure, whatever, that's the savior of the universe, I guess. The trailer ended with a promise of a nebulous 2022. February 13th, 2022. Stars Align releases with a TikTok Gardens that was largely the same as Crown of Shadows. The only new offerings being some fixes and changes, a new boss fight arena, new title screen, some original soundtracks, and a credit sequence. Oh, and did I forget to mention? Many bugs. It was a bit of a disaster, not only due to things that were our own fault, but things that weren't. Arian apologized for the rushed release, saying he'd scrapped major plot lines and character interactions just to get the game out. He hoped it would be the last time we had to do a release, since we were going world by world now. And the game was promised to stay open, but that didn't last very long. Daybreak closed only 1 week later, with the explanation that it wouldn't reopen until we met certain goals. A fully original soundtrack, a proper prologue, a fully complete hub, and that the game was in a stable state. March 22nd, 2022. Arian posts an announcement that not a lot of people saw coming. He had chosen to step down from leadership due to personal issues that caused an inability to lead. After 4 years of leadership, he thanked the community for everything and handed leadership to Sky. The next day, Sky posted about his intentions with the game, including starting development back up, revising work ethic, and having an open Q&A with the community. His entrance was well received, and soon after, he opened the bonus level program with the intention of giving the community a way to contribute to the game and having more content overall for players. About a month later, the first devlog goes up onto YouTube, explaining the basic history of the project, where we were as a team, and where we wanted to end up. He also explained that the existing TikTok gardens had been polished and added to. In addition, he revealed that Atomic Ridge had been restarted from scratch, but that significant progress had been made, and that development would be wrapping up and would be available in the next release, which feels awfully familiar. August 5th, the first mention of the new hub world was announced to the public, and Sky realized he needed help keeping development along. And so about a week later, I was asked to become co-lead alongside him, which I happily accepted, as, if it wasn't clear, this project is very near and dear to my heart, and I was willing to do anything to see it through, which included stepping into more roles and helping with bigger decisions. And there's actually not much to mention for a while past this point. Development was going smoothly. We had restarted World 3 for probably the third time, but we were making rapid progress on it. Bonus levels were being finished at a fairly regular pace. We were reworking major elements of the game for the better. The main cast design had been touched up by Shinyo. World 1 continued to be polished every day. Everything was looking up. In March of 2023, Shinyo was asked to become co-lead along Sky and myself. Our stylistic standards had raised to a new level, and in our attempt to fix TikTok gardens, we came upon a realization. It couldn't be. Not only was it entirely unorganized, there were massive issues ingrained into the builds themselves, some of which also hindered new ideas we had, but we also couldn't bear the thought of releasing almost the exact same world for a third time. It just felt wrong. After joking about it for a few days, we actually decided to do it. We were remaking TikTok gardens from scratch for the first time in 3 years. It was incredibly daunting, but we felt it needed to be done. We started work almost immediately after coming to the decision, and within 2 months had largely completed the world and a trailer ready for the community. It was amazing, fun, and so rewarding. But about a month before that, I had started to question certain aspects of the game, most specifically the story. I had always assumed things were under control and never paid it much mind. But since becoming co-lead and becoming more interested in writing for the game, I started asking questions to the other writers. And as I came to realize over the course of about a month, we barely had a story. The basic beats were there, but an actual, full, functional story for TikTok Gardens had never been made for this version of Stars Align. Due to a slight miscommunication, Shinyo and I were not made aware of the summer 2023 release date until about a week before the devlog went up, and it wasn't until later that I realized how soon that really was, and how unprepared we were for it. We kept revising and working on the game for a proper release, but summer 2023 came and went, and we only had a small dungeon trailer to show for it. October 31st, 2023. Sky steps down as lead of Team Nova, much as Arian did before him. Having dealt with personal issues for a while, he could no longer afford the time or mental energy that leadership took. Now, it's not personal, but I wish there was something he didn't say in his parting message. I can safely say that Scarlet will be able to run the game efficiently, and the vision of the game will be intact, as it always has been. I spent 1 full year of my life, from June 2023 to 24, trying to make this goddamn story work, with all of its elements, worlds, villains, even the NPCs. I have to admit, I love them so much and have been able to grow up into early adulthood with them. But it's a fucking mess. Full stop. Most of these characters and worlds come from the imagination of a bunch of tweens and teens making DLC for a long-defunct series that got reworked time and time again. Going through 2 to 3 rebrands, 3 leaders, many more co-leads, multiple revisions and retries at Worlds, complete style changes, and multiple engine rewrites. It's just a lot. Before this sounds too much like a cancellation announcement, Shinyo, myself, and many other members of Team Nova are still fully committed to seeing this through to the end. So why bring all this up? One of the reasons is to clear up disinformation and set the record straight. There have been rumors that Team Nova was the one that made Adventure forward, and I myself have been called Explode One on multiple occasions. And even though it's a genuine misunderstanding, I wanted you to know why it feels akin to a slur. The biggest reason though is we're going to be basically redoing most of the whole game. Major characters, worlds, and plot points may take new forms, or may never show up at all. But we wanted you to know why. When I said in my announcement for the engine demo that it would refresh our passions, I meant it for TikTok Gardens, but instead, it was true for the rest of the project. We had full creative freedom and control for the first time of the project, and through that, we were able to create something that I, my team, and many other people feel is really special and unique. And so, as a final send-off to that era of Stars Align, it is my great pleasure to say that we have spent some time fixing up the 2023 version of TikTok Gardens, its prologue, and Twilight Terminal for you all to play. Please note that most of the areas are very, very unfinished, and may be incredibly buggy as well, but I hope you get some enjoyment out of it nonetheless. Myself and the rest of Team Nova have poured so much of our effort and love into these worlds, and to just scrap it without our community seeing it felt wrong. So, where does that actually leave things? Firstly, we'd like to be a lot more transparent about development and things behind the scenes moving forwards. It's been a bit agonizing not being able to share where things really are, and it feels disrespectful to those of you who've been waiting for so long to leave you out of the loop. We plan to do devlogs more often, while having them be a bit shorter, more personal, and overall just less Nintendo Direct-y. It's just not really a style we want to use anymore. Secondly, as unfortunate as it is, Stars Align occupies one of the worst performing genres for Roblox's market, a single-player adventure game. I and many other people on the team are adults or just entering adulthood and need to start supporting ourselves, which Stars Align alone would just not provide. So we've started to branch out into making other games that we still like but could actually support us. Right now, some key members of Team Nova, myself included, are working full-time on a branded game with Exclusible, the same people that helped bring the Care Bear games to Roblox. We're actually really excited about the direction of this project so far, and even if branded games are not normally your gig, I hope you give it a try when it releases. Unfortunately, until that comes out though, everything Stars Align is on hold. Development for Stars Align has been a long, windy, and complicated road, but I'm genuinely so happy that I got to be here for most of it. I've met so many friends, had so many new experiences, learned so many new skills, had the best laughs I've ever had, and countless other memories that I can't fit into such a short list. So, whether you've been around the block with us or just found us, thank you for spending any of your time on Stars Align. Also, sorry, I have to add this as a quick addendum to the video. This video was supposed to take like a month max. Since this video started, I went through flooding, moving, horrible sickness, and then starting the contract with Exclusible, which ate up all my time. So I am really, really sorry that it took this long. All right, bye.